Hours before the president steps to the podium tonight, the League of Women Voters of Connecticut rallying right here in Hartford. The group is coming together right now outside of the state capitol with a special message to push back against the Trump administration. But